Hello and welcome back to Weekend Cartoon Reviews. I meant to release this episode last week and I meant to release another episode that was supposed to come out, but we're gonna be reviewing the Quintessential Quintuplets movie. Holy shit. I saw this literally a week ago. Yeah, exactly a week ago I saw this, and I did not think there would be a movie I would hype up a lot this year that wasn't Bob's Burgers the movie. But no. This came out as a surprise at the very end because I remember waking up and seeing the announcement because this movie came out in May in Japan. It came out in May. But then it came out here. And also, disclaimer, I'm sorry I can't release Character Elimination episode 18 today. Something is going on with the files, like it always does. Every time it's delayed, there's an issue with the files. But hopefully, this will be the last delay for the episode, and I can hopefully release it tomorrow. Hopefully. I can't promise that, though. Well, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do my absolute best to release it tomorrow. Anyways, on to the video. Well, the review. Okay, so the Quintessential Quintuplets movie. I'm gonna just start by saying what I thought of this series first, just because I think that's always important with a movie like this. So, the first season, I liked it. The show, it's about this guy named Futuro, who ends up in a situation where he has to be tutors for the quintuplets, and the quintuplets have varying personalities, and all of them have to accept that they all love him. Deep down on the inside, there's Ichika, who's the oldest sister, who's an actor, and she becomes an actor throughout the course of the series, season 1 and 2. But don't get me started on the season 2 stuff, because that really angered me. But I might save it for a future review video on this show, an overall review. But anyway, and then there's Nino, who's a tsundere. She's, like, the most rude to Futuro. Like, she drugs him. Well, she has drugged him and has done all these other things to him in the past. And she's just flat out rude in the first season, but she ends up I like her development in the second season. It's great. Miku, who's the shy one and is the first one to actually accept Futuro. Well, I think Yotsuba's more of that one, but we'll get to that in a bit. So yeah, Miku's the one who's really shy, and she's the first one to love Futuro, is what I was trying to say. And she's just great. She's a great character. I like her. But then there's Yotsuba, who's my favorite character. She's so full of energy, and I love characters like that in anime, especially. She's so full of energy, she's cheerful, she's bright, she's a little stupid, but she's great. I love her. And then there's Itsuki, who's kind of bland, to be honest. But I mean, I like all the characters. All the characters are great, in my opinion. And I know, like, okay, the story of how I watched this show was because of one of my friends. I'm not gonna say who, but if they're watching this, they know who they are. Like, does not like this show. They dislike this show. Like, I don't think they call it the worst thing ever, but they just don't like this show. But I saw reviews, and he mentioned how it was an unpopular opinion. And so, I went into it expecting to hate the thing, based on what he told me. And no. I played the test my patience game, basically, with it, and I thought I was gonna hate this thing. Thought I was ready to tear it apart, but no. I ended up loving it, and I think that's because of my low expectations. Like, if you've known me this fall, or, like, end of September to now, you'd know I've been on a crave for this show. You've known I've been on just such... Like, I've been bonkers for this show, because I really like this show. I've convinced people to watch it, and they ended up liking it. And honestly, now that you know what this show's about, it's time to get on with the movie. And if you are interested in watching the show and haven't seen the movie, then I highly suggest you click off this review, because there will be spoilers. Anyways, the Quintuplets movie. What did I think of it? I loved it. Every second, I loved it. Everything that happened, I loved it. Like, I was hyping this movie up, and I was just waiting, but I was just not ready to say goodbye to the Quintuplets at all. I was not ready whatsoever to say goodbye to this show, because I love this show, and yeah, the movie is the show's finale. But what did I overall think? Like I said, the movie, it's about who wins, basically, because this show, I should have mentioned before, this show is a harem anime. It's a harem genre, and it's the first harem I've ever liked. And anyway, all the characters, they all come together, and what I like about the movie is it makes all 5 of the options plausible. Like, it shows the result of how Futuro would spend the festival with each of the quintuplets. And I really liked that aspect a lot. I loved that aspect. And then there's a part where the quintuplets is actual dad, because there's a whole thing, because you have to understand the series to get it, but like the quintuplets' mother died, which is a recurring theme in the show. At least to me, I feel like it is, because they all live alone. And Futaro ends up having to tutor these 5 girls, as I said. He becomes their tutor and everything, and they all fall in love with him. And so this time around, they make sure each and every girl gets their own screen time, gets their own little thing. That happens. It happens. And then there's a part where their real father comes back, because we learn that the quintuplets' actual father currently, that's just their stepdad. And then their actual father, like, I guess her biological father, left the mother when he found out that she was having quintuplets. But then he comes back, and there's a whole thing with Itsuki. It's great. Like, honestly, I felt so much during the movie, for whatever reason, because I knew this was going to be the thrilling conclusion to the show. I'm wearing the shirt right now for the show, and I brought my Yotsuba plush to the theater, which I had it back there. Yeah, Yotsuba's my favorite character, and we're going to get into that right now. So, as for the winner of the show, again, spoiler warning once more. If you don't want to know who the winner is, then click off this video, because I'm about to say who the winner is, okay? Alright. So anyway, the winner, absolutely satisfied. The winner was Yotsuba. Yotsuba got Futaro. But there's a whole backstory with Yotsuba, where she feels like she's not special, and she joins all these clubs. But then she ends up failing school as a result for joining all these clubs, and her sisters tended to pass, but then they all admit to cheating on the exam, and so all of them get held a year back. And, yeah, I sort of relate to that in a way. I mean, in a way, like, I just cried during that, because I really like Yotsuba, and it broke my heart seeing that. But the way they set this whole thing up was great, because Yotsuba as a winner honestly makes sense. Even if my favorite quintuplet was Miku, for instance, I still think Yotsuba would have deserved Futaro the most. Because, I mean, I looked at it this way. Itsuki wants to become a teacher, Ichiko wants to be an actor, and she has in the United States. Nino and Miku want to cook. That's their whole thing. And then Yotsuba, where does Yotsuba lie? Exactly. And then in season 2, there's a whole thing about this girl that Futaro met during his childhood, and he realizes that it's one of the quintuplets. Which quintuplet was it? It's Yotsuba. Like, the whole thing makes sense. Yotsuba as a winner makes sense, which I don't get why the fans of the series really are upset with the ending. Like, I remember everyone thinking Nino was gonna be the winner, but no. Even though I like all the characters, I don't think Nino deserved it. And honestly, despite what pissed me off in Season 2 about Ichika, they did her character justice here. And they did Nino's character justice, I'd say, as well. Itsuki was kind of just there to me in the movie. But I really like the conversations and the interactions they had. Like, there's one with Yotsuba and Miku going to karaoke. And Yotsuba was actually hiding from her room because what they wanted to do, because they know there was going to be a lot of heartbreak between the 5 quintuplets. That they all go in their rooms, and whichever bedroom Futaro would choose, that's what quintuplet he'd end up with. And he went to Yotsuba's room, but Yotsuba wasn't there. And she thought she was just better off without Futaro because she felt she wasn't special enough. And yeah, that's a recurring thing with Yotsuba. Not in the show, but this is just like, yeah. Like, it hurts seeing Yotsuba like that, because that's not Yotsuba. Yotsuba's usually this really happy person, but no, they did that to Yotsuba, and I'm just like, oh no, poor Yotsuba. Like, I really like Yotsuba as a character. Like, you've probably seen her. If you have me friended on Discord, you've most definitely seen her in my icons. And, like, at the end, Futaro and Yotsuba get married. And I was just so happy seeing it. And at the end of the movie, they play the quintuplet game, which basically is a thing in the show where all the quintuplets try to disguise as one another, and Futaro has to figure out who's who. It's fun that way. It's just a fun show. I love the show. And it does have its moments where it's kind of cringe, but I love it. I can't bring myself to hate this show at all, and I don't think I ever will. this show is a very important one to me, I'd say, because I think it definitely is a great one. It's definitely no K-On! Or Love is War. Hell no. Hell fucking no. It is definitely none of those, but it definitely still holds a place for me because I thought I was gonna hate this thing, but look, as you can see, I'm praising it. It's a really good show, and I encourage you all to check this out because it's so much fun. Everything is fun in this show. Like, there's might be some parts you might not like here and there, like maybe a character that you can't tolerate as much, but overall, it's a great time. And the movie was really, really good. The movie definitely capped off the series quite well, and it ended with me waving to the movie screen, or just like I usually do. I wave to the movie screen or the TV screen when an anime is over with, and I wave to it, no matter what it is. Like, especially if I really enjoy it. Like, I was just sitting there, like, sad and with tears coming down my face saying, goodbye, Quintuplets. Like, during the end credits, I was still coming out of the theater wanting to cry. And yeah, because I'm gonna miss that show. Because, I mean, it didn't pull my heartstrings like it did with K-On! In a way, because K-On! I definitely cried more. But with Quintuplets, I was just sitting there, waving at the screen, saying goodbye, Quintuplets, just during the end credits as everyone was leaving the theater. I interacted with a lot of people inside the theater, too, but I think we're getting a little sidetracked there on the movie itself, but the Quintuplets movie, I loved it. It's great, it's funny, it has its great moments, it captures the show's humor very well, and I think it was a very satisfying send-off to the show, and I'm gonna miss it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. So yeah, bye everyone!